you have information maybe that you can add to this area, a topic when it comes to depopulation and the RFID chip or the forced vaccinations that are being pushed by the military possibly?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, one of the things is that there's actually, and I don't know if Dr. Deagle has talked about this before, but obviously there's not just the strand of the H1N1 for humans, but there's actually a virus strain that they found in the pig, in cattle, and it's starting to spread within livestock that we consume. From sources of mine and just what I'm gathering at, just really obvious information when you put two and two together, this is really enforcing and allowing the GMO to force all of their government manufactured food with all of these horrible toxins in them, things such as the aspartame and melamine and just the absolute toxins. Not much I do know, but my knowledge of the H1N1 is pretty much mostly what anyone can gather from the news and what's really going on. Now, the chips, the goal is, from what I was told, is by 2011, they want everyone chipped. It doesn't mean you're going to know it, but they can do it through any means. They can actually do it through vaccination.
Nanotechnology even?
Yes. This stuff is very real, and this technology has been perfected, and they're still continuing on. It's been going on for many, many years, far longer than what's ever on the media. The thing is, and let me just add this, when you hear about a new technology on like the science channels or Discovery or in the news, that is technology that has been around for quite some time. It's just what they do is they trickle it out. It's a little bit of candy for us to keep us clammed down. So the RFID chip, I was also told, now this was what I was told back in 2008, was that the plan was that they wanted to wipe out state-by-state IDs by the end of 2010. That may have changed because I'm no longer in that game anymore. But they wanted to wipe out and have a nationalized ID that would have a chip in it, and it would basically have every single piece of information on you. It would just be like having you'd be carrying around your own hard drive that would be constantly getting uploaded whenever you swiped it.
Yeah, you're correct. The timeline is this. I've actually been inside the quantum array at Falcon, Colorado, Schriever Air Force Base, underground. And it's an array of a giant cube of Cray 4 supercomputers and gallium arsenide Cray 5 that has built with artificial intelligence a database in every person in the Western world. Each individual, and this is on the Virtual World Project where I was a doctor as a contract civilian doctor on these projects, they actually call people nodes, and they have them attached databases for everything from their credit cards to their blood type to their history of availability locus antigens for transplantation to their military service records, genetics, genealogy, everything you can imagine. They've been building databases in every person for decades, going back almost 30 years. They are basically ready as necessary. And the things like an airborne plague or a war or a major catastrophe like a global earthquake that strikes multiple continents is the kind of thing that they want. And, of course, that's why I believe one of the main reasons why they set off the earthquake in Haiti, of course, it could have happened any time, but that it was probably, according to the evidence we see, set up using a geotectonic scalar weapon. So they can push for a United Nations World Health Organization-sponsored rapid reaction military force. It's a world force that has the power to invade any country, take control, command and control of medical and emergency, and then force vaccinate, track all of populations to control the spread of international pandemics. That's why in 2006, all 194 nations signed the bill allowing the World Health Organization, if they went to pandemic level 6, to control all health resources, military resources, medical, and policing. So right now in control of the world as the pandemic ramps up in the next months or years and gets more lethal and more lethal as time goes on, which is an eventuality. It's not a maybe, it's a certainty. We just don't know the timeline.
Now, Dr. Deagle, recently you had... Go ahead.
Yeah, we're probably looking at sometime in the next, I'd say, 6 to 18 months, the probability of medical martial law happening is very high.
Recently, you had Freeman on your show, and I'm very familiar with Freeman. I was telling Aaron last night about him. And Aaron, your brother is quickly moving up the NASA ranks. And according to Freeman at freemantv.com, NASA's canceling its space shuttle program. 7,000 people will be put out of work as it brings to an end the Columbia endeavor for the discovery of Atlantis, which happens to be the names of the shuttles. And according to Warner von Braun, we have this terrorist threat, then asteroids, and then the alien invasion. We seem to be right on schedule. Is Yemen really a ground zero for the extraterrestrial invasion, possibly?
I would say no, just because of the main project I was a part of at the base based in the Caribbean. That was on a much larger scale than anything right now that's going on in Yemen. Now, there is definitely this anomaly. There's definitely some kind of portal, possibly a Stargate-type portal. That was just the name I was using it for because Stargates come in, a multitude of technology and form. But what I want to emphasize with people is that as far as Yemen goes, there is a huge interest, not just with our government, although our government is the one that's focused on it, but with many of the governments are tied in with the global elite as far as Yemen. Now, that's not to say that everything I've said before doesn't matter, because it does. The warnings that I have given are absolute. Yemen has basically been picked, as the next target to be in the open eyes of the United States and the world. They're doing this because there are much more deeper shadow government projects and some, revolved around that area, but it has been for quite a long time. It's just, like I said, the timeline is starting to run short. They've been given tasks and they've been given goals, and they are running out of time. So if they do not accomplish these tasks that have been given them to by the ones that are really running the show, then a whole mess of trouble could wind up coming down upon them, which would then in turn have repercussions on us. I have no doubt that there's going to be. What's that?
Who's really running the show? What are we talking about here?
Well, we're talking about the reptilians.
Okay, and Deagle, you're on board with that, right?
I'd have to expand it a bit.
Well, please do.
You guys got it free. Go for it.
Well, one of the things is people want a pat answer. That's why I got a request to go to speak by video link to Alien Shift coming up, and I think there's a new one coming up in March. My insights and knowledge on this are considerably more advanced than the other people I've talked to, and some of the things that I know I really can't talk about yet. But I can give you some insight as to what we're facing. If you were to think, and this is kind of a thought experiment, like an Einsteinian thought experiment, think about a descendant from mankind 10 million years from now. And think about, let's say, if we had the capacity to travel through time or to meet another civilization that was similar to our level of advancement now, how would you view those beings on that planet who, according to Michio Kaku, are a zero-order energy culture, zero-order spiritual culture, and are quite dangerous beasts that if they do eventually get any more advanced technology and start to leap across space-time at or above the speed of light, they would be considered a cosmic and a galactic plague. Now, in our universe, there's two great, if you want to call it, collectives or empires. The first one is no advanced civilization survives its own technology unless its spirituality advances beyond that. They literally merge with the technology and become a hive. What we're being invaded by, in a sense, the best way to describe it would be hivers. And if you want to refer to them for the sake of calling it science fiction, the Draco-Gorgon Empire, and of course the Gorgons are the amphibians that are stylized in the hat that's on the Pope, which is the amphibious Nephilim that landed on Mount Horeb, that gave the advanced technologies of metallurgy, etc., and warfare to the ancient peoples. Then you start to grasp that our civilization has constantly been interfered with by advanced civilizations that don't have really good intent, and use not only advanced physical